Well, state Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota have blocked an effort to investigate further and impeach Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison. A resolution taken up by the Minnesota House Rules and Legislative Administration Committee to launch an impeachment investigation that was defeated by all 8 Democrats on the committee. They voted against it.
This comes as Walz and Ellison have been accused of neglecting the alleged fraud in their state. It even led to both of them testifying before the House Oversight Committee on the fraud investigation. Kristin Robbins is a Minnesota State Representative and Minnesota gubernatorial candidate. I wanted to ask you, are you disappointed of the results of this vote? I think taxpayers are wondering, who's going to be responsible for this? I think it's like $19 billion now in fraud that they're worried about that's gone missing.
Yes, taxpayers have had it. They are fed up. The buck stops with Tim Walz, and he failed to hold any of his agencies or commissioners accountable. So ultimately, the taxpayers want Tim Walz held accountable. All of this happened on his watch, and the only avenue that the legislature has is impeachment. We're not law enforcement. We can't arrest him. So impeachment is the avenue to hold the governor accountable for malfeasance, for turning a blind eye, and for all the billions stolen on his watch.
Let me go to CC03 control. So obviously, if you're talking about impeachment of the governor, in his mind, perhaps maybe he's thinking, look, I already said I'm not running for re-election, but he also, so that should have been his consequence, if you will. Obviously, lawmakers don't feel that way. So he went out and put this post saying, I would just encourage those legislators to get out of the basement of the Capitol where they are putting on a little play. They know, and I know, it's more likely the sun will rise in the west than that will happen and go anywhere. Your reaction to the statement by the governor?
It's outrageous. The hubris, the arrogance. He has stolen, allowed to be stolen, I should say, billions of our taxpayer dollars. And rather than take accountability, take responsibility, and admit what he has allowed to happen, he just mocks the legislature for trying to do their job. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it's insulting to suggest it's a play. One of the things that I always looked at was we talked about he decided not to run for re-election. Well, his polling was terrible. I think it was like December. It was almost 70% of the residents in your state said that he did a terrible job addressing this fraud. But you mentioned the accountability would be arrests, some sort of accountability in that aspect. With Ellison, not on board there, is it really up to the Trump administration? Is it really up to the DOJ to do something?
Yes, and I believe the DOJ is looking at all avenues of this. So I have faith in the DOJ to get to the bottom of this. But our role as legislators, our only avenue for accountability is impeachment. So that's what we tried to do this week. I've certainly continued to have fraud hearings. We are holding all of his agencies accountable every week in the fraud committee, bringing them before us, trying to get also not only the accountability, but actual legislation passed to create future accountability, an independent Office of Inspector General that has law enforcement powers within the executive branch so that this never happens again under any future governor. We have other bills that we're working on to tighten up internal controls and bring accountability. And we need to get those through. And the Democrats have stood in our way time and time again. They say they want to address fraud, but they block all the Office of Inspector General. They blocked impeachment. They are not actually helping us get accountability that the state is demanding.
I'm Sean Kreisman. For stories and content just like this, check out National Report weekdays 9 to noon, only on Newsmax.